Hello, my curious learners. So once again, we are back together for grammar sessions at your favorite platform, Learn Forward. And we are here with your grammar book, The Grammar Hub for Grade 8 by Feathercap. We are going to start a new topic today. Not exactly new, but yes, the next chapter of your book, that is chapter 12, Subject-Verb Agreement. We have been studying about them. What do you understand by subject-verb agreement? Can anyone tell? Exactly. The verb has to go hand in hand according to the subject in any sentence. This is what we mean by subject-verb agreement. So, we have learnt about simple present tense where you have to decide whether to use SES with the verb or not to use. Then you have to decide whether to use is, are, am with the verb. That also you check out the subject. So, subject-verb agreement is that the verb should agree with the subject in its number, in its person, and according to the tense also. So, let's just see here. He is ill. He is a singular pronoun, singular subject, so we are using singular verb with it, is. Then coming to next, I am an engineer. So I, with I, we always use am. Next is monkeys have bananas. So monkeys is plural, so we are using here plural verb. And remember, with SES, the noun becomes plural, but with SES, the verb becomes singular. So here this verb is without SES, that means it is plural verb with plural subject monkeys. Now my father, singular, so we are using exercises every day. They is plural, so we are using in past tense were. And what is used in past tense for singular? Was. Yes. So this is what we mean by subject verb agreement. Now let's revise all the rules that we have learned. If two or more singular nouns or pronouns, if they are joined by the conjunction and, so your subject takes plural, like Geeta and Rita. So we are talking about two nouns here, so that becomes plural. That is why we are using plural verb here. Geeta and Rita are students of this school. The teacher and the student, again, it becomes plural, so we are using here plural verb were. Next, when two nouns suggest the same idea, although we are using and there, but then it suggests the same idea, then we use singular verb with such subject, like the rise and fall of the Mughal Empire. So we are talking about the same subject, the same idea. Slow and steady, that means both have to go together, slow and steadiness. So this is a singular subject here. We are using singular verb wins. Or if you talk about any meal, like you say rajma and rice, so that is one meal together. We are not talking of two things. So that is curry and rice. That is one meal only. So together it is giving you one single idea. It is singular. So we'll say rice and curry is my favorite dish. Okay. Next, if two subjects together, they express one idea, like the long and short of the matter. So we are talking about the long and short of the same matter. So it is conveying you one single idea, is that she has decided to return to England. If singular subjects are preceded by each or every, that is also giving you a singular idea, like every man, woman and child. See, individually if we see, we are talking about man, woman, child, but it is preceded by every, so we will be using here singular verb here, was present at the gathering. And there is a rule about repetition of article also. If you say the producer and the director, that means we are talking about two different identities, the producer and the director. So that becomes plural subject. But if we use article only once, we say the producer and director, that means the same person is the producer as well as the director of the movie, and we will use is with it, right? So we say the producer and the director are present here, but we say the producer and director is present here. I hope you have understood the difference. Coming to next, a collective noun that always takes a singular subject. The committee has, because we are talking about the committee as one group. But sometimes the members of the committee, they act as individuals. Then in that case, we take it as plural subject. So we use plural verb there. Like the committee members are divided in their opinion. So they are not standing united as one collective noun. So they are not united. That means they are different identities now. So members here are plural. The committee members are divided in their opinion. Coming to next, some nouns are plural in form. They appear to be, like if I talk about physics, you feel that this is a plural subject because it is S ending. So we have to be very careful because the subject here is actually singular. It will take singular verb with it. So physics is my favorite subject. Similarly, the news sound to you to be plural, but then it is a singular noun and we say the news was scary. More rules for you. Some nouns are singular in form, but then they are plural in meaning. For example, if you talk about police, so police is not one, right? So we talk about the group there. So the police have nabbed the culprit. So here we are talking about plural. This singular noun, it appears to be singular subject, but actually it means plural. Coming to next, the words each, everyone, either, neither, only either, neither, without nor or. So these are taken as, they'll be taking a singular verb. For example, everyone, although we are talking about all here, but then we are talking about them individually, everyone, each. So this will take a singular verb. Everyone was welcomed. Neither he nor I was prepared. Here we are using neither nor. So this will come in the next rule. When two subjects, they are joined by either or, neither nor, then we look at the later part of the subject which follows or nor, right? For example, either you or she. So which is the later part of the subject? She is the later part which follows or. So this will be singular because she is singular, right? Similarly, when you look here, neither he nor I, so the subject here is I. We will use the verb according to the later subject when we are talking about either or, neither nor, right? But when we talk about only neither, only either, then we will use the singular verb there. If subjects, they are joined by either or, neither nor, so the closer one is taken. So here the boy or his brothers. Which one is closer to the verb? Brothers. That means the later subject is brothers. This is plural, so we will use plural verb here. The boy or his brothers have made the mistake. And neither the team members nor the captain. So here the later part of the subject is captain, which is singular. So we will be using has here. Singular verb, has reached the station. Next, when two subjects are joined using as well as, with, along with, etc., where we just mean to say togetherness, we are taking it together. So that there the verb agrees with the first option, like Madhu along with his friends. So here we are talking about this first part of the subject. This is singular, so your verb will be singular. Has won the prize. We can also say it like this: all my friends along with Madhu. Now, if we say all my friends along with Madhu, we mean the same group, isn't it? All my friends along with Madhu. Now here we'll again look at the former subject. This is all my friends, which is plural. So we will say all my friends along with Madhu have arrived. So we are using plural verb here because all my friends is the first part of the subject, not according to Madhu. Okay, so you have to be very careful about these rules. Now, a relative pronoun always agrees in number and person with its antecedent, means the noun which is being described. Like, he is one of those men who know a lot about this matter. So the relative pronoun here is who, and what is the antecedent here? The antecedent is those men, which is plural. So we are using here plural verb without ses. Okay. Now many. Many refers to number and much refers to, this is quantity, that is amount. So this number many is referring to plural, that is why it will take plural verb, but then much is referring to an amount, so it will take singular verb. Like many of the bananas, so we are talking about plural, were ripe. But when we talk about much of the milk, so we say was wasted. Okay, it's not about quantity, it is about seeing whether it is countable or uncountable. Next, when a plural number applies to distances, weights, etc., it is taken as a whole and therefore treated as singular. So when we talk about plural, but we talk about some distance or some quantity, some amount, it is taken as singular. Yes. The next point talks about plural number which applies to distances, weights or amounts. So that is taken as a whole and we use singular verb with it. Like if you talk about 2 kilos, you feel, oh, I am talking about something plural, but then 2 kilos is a weight. So 2 kilos of meat, we'll take it as singular. Singular verb will be used here. Costs 500 rupees. 300 miles, we are talking about distance. Although 300 miles seems to be a plural distance, but this is distance, so we'll be using here is singular verb. Similarly, if we talk about some amount, 500 rupees is not a big amount for anyone. So is 500 rupees is not singular, but still we are talking about an amount, so we'll use singular verb here. Uncountable nouns like clothing, news, stationery, cutlery, all these are uncountable and they use singular verb with them. So furniture, although it contains many items, but then we are using here singular verb. So the furniture is expensive. Next, when you talk about both, it always takes plural verb because we are talking about both. That means it becomes plural subject. So both the girls were scolded. Coming to next, when the subject has the phrase one of the, that means we are talking about singular again. Although it is followed by a plural noun, we still use singular because out of the whole plural lot, we are talking about one. So one of the boys in the class was praised by the principal. It's not all the boys, it's only one of the boys. So we are using singular verb here. Still more rules to understand. When an of phrase, that means we are using of there, follows a percentage, fraction or an amount, then the verb agrees with the noun or pronoun which is closest to the verb. For example, if I say 1/3 of the population, so we are talking about the population which is closer to the verb. So we are using here singular verb with population. But this is collective noun, children. So we are using singular verb. 1/3 of the villagers. Now here we are talking about villagers. So we will use here plural verb, have brick houses here. Next, with quantifiers like all, some and few, when we talk about them, the verb agrees with the noun or pronoun which is closest to it. For example, some of the banana cake. Now we are talking about banana cake which is singular, so we'll say is in the tin. But if we say some of the muffins, now muffins is plural, so we'll use here plural verb, were very hard. Coming to next, often a verb is made to agree with the noun near it instead of its proper subject. For example, we say the behavior of the students. So here it seems we are talking about students, but it is not correct. We are not talking about students which is plural. We are talking about their behavior which is a singular. So we'll look at this word behavior which will give an impact of singular verb here. So the behavior of the students was excellent. Let's look at another example. The cost of all these goods. We are not talking about these goods. We are talking about their cost which is singular. So when we are talking about singular cost, we'll use here singular verb has. So it is not correct to say the cost of all these goods have risen. This is wrong. So the cost of all these goods has risen. This is correct. I hope I could help you understand the subject verb agreement. Let's do an exercise now. You have multiple choice questions here. In which person does a subject always need a plural verb? So with first person, second person or third person? Yes, with first person, I, we, with second person, you, with both, we use plural verb. Which becomes plural if you add s to it? We have just learned by adding s, nouns become plural. So a noun becomes plural if you add s to it. Next, 50 rupees. Oh, that is an amount. We just learned with amounts, with quantities, with distance, we use singular verb. So it will be 50 rupees is not a big amount. Next, in which tense do all subjects of whatever person or number take the same verb? Is it in simple present tense? We decide S or ES with the verb. Then simple past tense? Yes, that is always the second form of verb, but still let us look at the other forms. Present continuous tense? We have to see whether to use is, are, am with ing verb. Again, not the same. Present perfect continuous. Oh, we have to find out has or have, which is correct. So only with simple past tense, we use only one form of verb with all the subjects, maybe whatever person, whatever number. Coming to next, the news. Singular, yes, the news is true. Let's move to next. Now fill in the blanks with correct options. So we'll try to recall the rule with the correct answer that we will be selecting here. So here we have either the doctor in the hospital or a relative of the patient. When we are talking about either or, we look at the second part of the subject, which is singular. So it will be is. Next, dash my boss or my sister. So what is closer? My boss. So is my boss or my sisters going to accompany me to the meeting? Some of the notes, we are not talking, we are talking about something which is countable, which is plural in number. So some of the notes here seem to have been forged. Next, the floods that affect this country. So we are talking about floods, isn't it? The floods that affect this country every monsoon. We are not talking about country, we are talking about floods, which is plural. So the floods are more than just a nuisance. Next, everyone selected to serve on this jury. Everyone takes a singular verb. Everyone has to be willing. Next, Diksha, together with her teammates. We are using the word together. We'll look at the first part of the subject, which is singular. So presence of formidable. This is how every time you say the rule, why I am using singular, why I am using plural, you will be learning your rules properly and you will be confident about your answer. Next, he seems to forget that there dash things. Now when we are using there, we have to look at the subject after the verb. So there things is plural. There are things to be packed before he leaves for the vacation. Next, again we are starting the sentence with there. So let us see here. There dash to be some people left. There have to be some people left. Next, some of the grain. Grain is singular here. So some of the grain appears to be contaminated. Now 3/4 of the students, it should be 3/4 of the students. We are talking about students, which is plural. So when we talk about fractions of, we look at the following subject. So that is plural. So we'll use here plural. 3/4 of the students are against the tuition hike. This is how you'll be doing the third exercise yourself now. Fill in the blanks with the correct form of the verb. So be careful. Try to repeat every rule before you write down any answer here. This was all about subject-verb agreement. And now it's your turn to practice. Till we'll be looking forward for more sessions here. Till then, happy learning.